problem with this is that normally you would have a group of lawyers from all across the agencies that actually would make these determinations. Trump did away with that at the beginning of this administration. So it's unclear what type of legal advice Trump was getting. Congress must see the underlying intelligence about how they were in direct threat, but as of right now, I have not seen that.
You're arguing that after 46 years of the Iranian regime killing Americans, threatening Americans, saying over and over and over again, death to America, that maybe they were just, didn't mean it, that they're fiery but mostly peaceful Iranian butchers? I mean, I don't understand. This is a righteous...
That's Republican Scott Jennings laying into CNN's latest meltdown, because apparently pretending Iran isn't a threat is easier than admitting Trump had it right all along. When Donald Trump forces the press to choose between uncomfortable facts and their preferred fiction, they always pick the fantasy. This is Hush, where silence meets strategy and spin gets shut down. And today's spin, it's unraveling fast. CNN's in panic mode again, because when a strong president acts with precision, their narrative engine breaks down. For years, they labeled Trump a walking crisis, but now that he delivers a clean targeted strike on Iran, suddenly it's all about decorum and proper channels. Same media that shrugged while Obama quietly handed Iran pallets of cold hard cash in the dead of night, now wants to cry about process. Let's cut the noise. Scott Jennings explains clearly why Trump's leadership stands in total contrast to what the media keeps trying to sell you.
I mean, the fact is we have a strong president, a decisive president, and the most lethal military in the world, and there's a huge difference between what's going on in Iran right now and what happened in Iraq over 20 years ago. So I think having J.D. Vance out is great. I think having Marco Rubio out is great. I think the president bringing his whole national security team out and showing that, you know, the entire government here was operating in lockstep with great precision, great resolve, and the execution of this was flawless. It ought to give the American people, you know, a lot of confidence in the competence in our government right now as compared to what we had in previous administrations.
As here, and the implications of this is that they do escalate, they do attack Americans abroad, and that we end up seeing a back and forth and war moving forward.
This is not an escalation. This is a de-escalation.
Well, Trump promised escalation.
This is not
Trump promised escalation.
Iranian bunker busting bombs is not an escalation.
Because well, she said President Trump promised us peace. I ask you, can we have peace if Iran has a nuclear weapon?
Well, we had a deal, and
okay, and you're litigating the past.
I'm not litigating the past.
Can we have peace if they have a nuclear weapon?
We had a deal. He's trying to get back into that deal. And he withdrew from that.
They were violating
and not only that, now he's trying to have another deal.
Bribery and appeasement does not work with terrorism.
Hold on.
This is the part they just can't twist. Trump's strike wasn't reckless. It was a statement. 3 high-value Iranian nuclear facilities neutralized with pinpoint B-2 bomber precision. 0 American casualties. And Iran, their big retaliation was a weak, easily intercepted response. That's not a war, that's a warning, and delivered with power and clarity. Now stack that against Obama, the guy who pleaded for a deal, shipped $1.7 billion in literal cash under the cover of night, and still got mocked by Tehran. The media was silent for all that, but when Trump acts and gets results, suddenly they scream crisis. No, that's not crisis, that's what leadership looks like. And speaking of spin, here's Caitlin Collins doing what CNN always does, betting on Trump to fail right before he shuts them down with results they can't deny.
Now, we're hearing incredibly optimistic views coming out of the White House as far as how long this can hold and what this is going to look like. That obviously still remains to be seen on the implementation side of this, and waiting to see if the firing does stop and if Iran and Israel do both agree to this. Because, you know, speaking of the fluidity of the situation, it was just 24 hours ago that President Trump himself was suggesting a regime change in Iran was a possibility. And obviously right before that, having the United States strike Iran. And so, yes, there have been a lot of phone calls going back and forth.
Caitlin, I just been given word that Iran, according to a diplomat who briefed CNN, Iran has agreed to the ceasefire. So this is significant. I just want to try to learn some more information as soon as we get it about that. But if that is the case, that's incredibly significant, because that is, we were waiting, we had not heard from Iran, we had not heard from Israel. All we were going on so far has been the president's social media post, which was some 2 hours ago. So again, that is the first indication we have that Iran has agreed to this.
That moment was pure TV collapse. watching CNN's narrative blow up right in front of them. Caitlin Collins is mid-rant, trying to cast doubt on Trump's ceasefire, when Anderson Cooper jumps in and drops the truth. Iran had just accepted it, live on air. That's what happens when results show up before the spin finishes loading. Under Biden, we get lectures about nuance and slow diplomacy. Under Trump, we get action that shuts down speculation before the media can finish their sentence. And still, they keep trying to walk it back. Aaron Burnett, in classic denial mode, clings to the script and insists there's no ceasefire, even after her own guest confirms one is already in place.
And certainly right now, Aaron, the Iran saying that their retaliation is going to continue and that their retaliation, if anything, is going to become more intense. Of course, one of the things that we heard is that the Iranians believe that they are in a conflict both with Israel and the United States, feeling that Israel has dragged the United States into a conflict directly with Iran, Aaron.
All right, Fred Pleiken, thank you so much. Of course, the literal eyes and ears on the ground to hear those explosions. I want to go now to Barack Ravid, our political and global affairs analyst. Also joining us, of course, retired General Mark Kimmett, former Assistant Secretary of State. He oversaw policy here in the Middle East. And here with me in the UAE, along the Strait of Hormuz, Paula Huancox, our correspondent, who knows this region better than anyone. Barack, I just want to start with you, though. I know you have some new reporting. What are you learning right now?
Today, when after the Iranian attack on the El Udeid base, Iranian officials sent a message to the White House through the Qataris saying, we're done. This is our response. We're not going to do anything further. The White House sent a message back through the Qataris. We are not, if you're done, we are not going to retaliate, and we want to talk. We want to now get a deal. In the hours since then, there were talks between the US and Israel and Qatar and Iran to tie the final knots and agree on the final conditions of this ceasefire.
All right, and obviously all very significant developments. Paula, of course, all happening as Barack is laying out over several hours. We have not yet heard from the Israelis or the Iranians. Literally what we are hearing actually is explosions in Tehran right now that Fred is reporting.
Watching the legacy media collapse under their own narrative is like watching someone trip over a wire they spent all day setting up. They spend an entire segment denying a ceasefire, only to be corrected on air by their own guest, who calmly reveals it's real, mediated by Doha, and partly negotiated by Trump. It's like these anchors are allergic to reality. Facts show up loud and clear, and still they default to denial. That's not journalism, that's pure emotional damage control. Trump just neutralized a high-stakes international crisis without losing a single American life. And the media? They're furious because he made them irrelevant again. No spin can patch that up. No script can reverse it. They got caught again. So tell me, did Trump just humiliate CNN with another foreign policy move they swore couldn't happen? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this kind of unfiltered clarity is your thing, hit that like button, subscribe, and help push back against the noise.